Hi, Anthony McConnell here from Indigo Wine Co. We are here in beautiful Singapore. We've got Dave Powell from Powell Son, the new winery of his, up here with us this week, and we'll be catching up with him shortly to find out what his views are on his new brand. Hey Dave, it's good to have you up here in Singapore again, mate. I hope you're enjoying the weather.
Great to be back as always.
Excellent, mate. It's good dinner last night down at Callum.
Absolutely,
there.
absolutely.
Good little crowd. So I just sort of thought we might sort of get a little bit of background on what got you into out of Torbreck and into Powell Son, mate.
Well, you know, I don't like to talk about the exit of Torbreck too much. It's pretty painful, but the great thing was having my oldest son who's always decided he wanted a career in the wine business and basically come to me and saying, Dad, listen, I didn't really want to take over Torbreck, that was your gig, I'd rather start something with you from the ground floor. So it's been great actually, and you know, for any father to work with one of their kids is a bit of a dream anyway, so in some ways I think it's been a blessing in disguise.
That's great. How long have you been going now?
Well, the first vintage was 2014. We didn't start selling wine until almost into 16, and so we've hit the ground running. It's been really nice. Of course, I've been in the wine business 35 years now, so there's a fair bit of experience and knowledge, a lot of contacts. So it's you know, it's been a pretty good journey so far.
And mate, looking at sort of, you know, where you were and where you are now, and what's happening with your wines. So how would you sort of see the Powell Son wines?
Well, I think, you know, one of the issues at Torbreck with my own doing was that the company became quite big and I became a bit of a wine company CEO. So I kind of lost touch with being out in the vineyards and being in the winery as much as I would like. And this has really given me a new lease on life. And that's one of the things Callum and I talked about, that we wanted to be directly involved with every aspect of the business. So we're running the vineyards, and I've just spent the last few months travelling, but also out in the vineyards pruning. Last weekend I spent all the weekend summer pruning vines. You know, the great thing is I'm actually back to doing the stuff that I love, and I think that has an impact on the quality of the wine we're making. I think there's absolutely no doubt about it.
And stylistically, where
well,
do you see
Callum and I
yourself
talked.
going? What do you want to do with it?
Once again, Callum and I talked a lot about the styles of wine we wanted to make. Callum made it quite clear to me that he wasn't just coming along for the ride on my coattails. He wanted a strong voice in it. Having worked in other wineries, had a gap year where he went and worked with Jean-Louis Chave and for a year in France, so he has a very definite opinion of what wine should be, and we talked about how we could perhaps fine-tune the style that I was making at Torbreck, make the wines a bit more freshness, a bit more brightness, a bit more vitality, partly expressing, Callum, he's only 23, so expressing his philosophy on life as well as wine. So I think that's probably all come into it together. A lot of the people who have seen the wines and known me for years have said to me, Dave, there's another dimension to the wines that I would never seen before. And I said, honestly, that's Callum's involvement and his voice in the wines and his youthful enthusiasm.
That's great. And where's the next port of call?
Well, really, you know, we're kind of almost at where we want to peak our production. I never want to get big again. I mean, and you get to the stage where the bigger you get, you then have to, you don't just get 10% bigger, you double, and it gets to the stage where it gets ridiculous. And having done that, and I've not made the mistake, but having done that, I don't want to do that again. So now it's really a case of, you know, at the moment we're leasing vineyards, but we have contracts to buy them. So, you know, selling wine and making money so we can actually buy the vineyards down the track and basically ring fence everything so we've got absolute ultimate control. But really, just steady she goes.
That's good. And how are you finding the Singapore? You know, are you enjoying the time up here?
Oh, mate, Singapore, actually, the Torbreck days was my second export market. I've been coming here for years. I used to come here as a backpacker in the early days, so Singapore for me is like home. You know, I always say to people coming up to Singapore, particularly with a direct flight out of Adelaide, basically going on a bus, you know. I get on the flight at 10:30 in Adelaide in the morning, I'm here at 3 in the afternoon, I can go out to dinner and then I go and have a few drinks. I mean, it's a pretty easy market to work with, very sophisticated market. You're not having to spend too much time, as with some emerging markets, explaining what you're doing. In Singapore, people know. I also have a long history with a lot of people in Singapore. A lot of people know Torbreck and know me personally, so I find it's it's almost an extended home market in a lot of ways.
Sure. Yeah, it's great to, I think, you know, we're a young company as well with Indigo, and it's been terrific being here in the marketplace and seeing the vibrancy of the F&B and things like that. It's been great having you up here because, you know, it's, as you said, you know, there's some great contacts. You know, we had a nice little dinner the other night with one gentleman who does pretty well up here.
Yeah,
you know, Tets was great fun to hang out with. So it was the first time I got to have a little bit of a chat with him.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's a very nice guy.
I really liked it. So,
well, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of synergy between Powell Son and Indigo because they're both young companies,
Yep.
You've been around a long time. You know, the boys behind the business are no fools. They like wine, so you don't have to waste your time trying to explain to them what high-end branding's about. And they're not wanting to try and fill the thing up with containers of crap just to get cash flow. They want to focus on good wine. As I said, your experience, you and I have had sort of somewhat parallel experiences with our former careers. So I think, as I said, we're both young companies, but it's a bit like, you know, people think, oh shit, it's overnight success, but no, we've been playing backstreet bars for 20 years. You know, this didn't happen overnight.
Young companies, old bulls.
That's basically, yeah, and that's, you know, and I think that's important, and I think that's why we work well together.